Hello, my name is Carmela E. Head.
Hello, everybody. I'm Prophet Hope Milton.
Hi, I'm Patrick J. Brown, Executive Director of Culture and Context of the Renewal Center.
Here at the Renewal Center, it is the center for prophetic art, thought, voice, and action.
The one thing I love about the Renewal Center is the core values, which we're revealing Christ, renewing minds, we're restoring lives, and reforming community. And we know that the only way that we can do that is to reveal Christ to everyone.
That's right. If any person is in Christ, that person will be and can be a new creation. You've been created to reveal Christ. That's right. Christ in you, being born from above, being born again, being generated from a higher place, which is Christ. In you, the hope of glory.
And when I think about renewal, I think about continual growth. We all have the capacity. We all have the very much capacity to move forward and to expand ourselves. So that's what growth and renewal is all about here at the Renewal Center.
So excited to be here. I hope that you will continue to connect. This is an awesome vision. And I'm just excited about everything that God is doing in the Renewal Center here in Concord, North Carolina.
I am.
Hey, everybody. Hello. Please excuse the lateness of our start, having a little technology connections challenges today. So hopefully we'll be able to make it through here successfully. So I want to welcome everyone to our Tea Time Tuesdays. How's everybody doing? Hopefully your week has started out well. If you're out there, share with us what you're drinking today. What's your tea of choice? I am currently here at the Renewal Center, and I am enjoying a sweet and spice orange. So really enjoying this. So what do you have for yourself today? Hello, and hello. Please go ahead and share this with everyone. If you're out there, go ahead and connect and bring others in so we can have our time of connection today. Green tea, okay. Very good. Okay. Good to see everybody. Come on in. Please say good afternoon. Let us know what tea you got today, what you have there. Hope everyone is doing well. I have a great presentation for us today. I'm looking forward to our dialogue and also our engagement. And ginger, okay. One of the key things about our tea time today is really to engage in taking a break and disconnecting and learning how to quiet ourselves. You know, it's important that we experience still, that we experience calm. And so this is our time to really collect ourselves so that we can be clear to be the people we need to be our very best self, and to present the best of who we are in the world that we live in. And so this is why we connect. This is why we are in this space today to do that. And so today's tea time is about self-sabotage. Are you your worst enemy? That's what we're going to share today, about self-sabotage and what happens when we're in self-sabotage. And also asking ourselves the question, are we our worst enemy? But before we do that, let's take a time to just still ourselves, to quiet our minds, a time of meditation, a time of reflection, if you will. So go ahead and drink your tea or your smoothie or your water. And let's just take a moment here to relax ourselves. And as you're coming on, share with us the tea that you're drinking today. Good. Excellent. So last week, we gave some tips concerning, how we're approaching anxiety and stress. And I hope that some of you that are watching that were with us last week, please begin to share this with everyone. Anybody that you think needs a break in their day to collect themselves, to refresh themselves, to rest themselves, to clear themselves, this is a good space for that. And so I'm hoping that many of you that were with us last time, you were able to apply some of these suggestions. Today, I want to talk through self-sabotage is our point of discussion today. One of our visions at the Renewal Center is to renew minds, but also to restore lives. And because of our belief, many times our belief will impact our brain and in turn impact our body. So it starts with a belief, whether it's a right belief or a wrong belief. It starts with our belief system. And then once our belief system impacts our brain becomes wired around a particular belief that we embrace. And the next thing you know, it leads to our bodies being impacted. There's only one us, there's only one you. And so we have to really watch what we're believing and watch what's going into our brains and in what we're allowing to feed to our bodies. It's interesting because if you were moving to a new city or a new state or a new place, right, and you're meeting people that are there, generally, you're going to find out about finding a realtor or finding the best locations and the best places to live. Sometimes you start getting into subjects like, who's your doctor or who's your dentist, right? Where do you go to for, your orthodontist or what have you? We'll ask questions like that. Sometimes even people ask questions like, well, where do your children go to school or the best part of a city? Or sometimes they'll ask questions like, maybe where you worship or, that type of thing, where you go to church, etc. It'd be interesting to ask, well, so who's your therapist? Who's your counselor? Here it is. We ask a lot of questions about, pastoring, leaders, things like that, where we work, the jobs that we have, or we'll have a conversation about the doctor that we might go to or our physician or our dentist. But then there's also the question of, how do we care for our minds? How do we care for our souls? How do we care for what's going on in our thoughts? And that's important and critical as well. It's not a defensive question. I mean, we ask people about, their doctors and where they work and where they live, but what about taking care of our souls? And so that's what this is about. I really want us to dive into this subject about self-sabotage and what we can do to be more effective in areas of our lives relating to, are we possibly our worst enemy? So I want to dive into this conversation today. All right. So as you're sipping your tea, your drink, let's get into this. All right. Okay. Self-sabotage. Let's dive into this. These are 7 ways that many times we engage in self-sabotage, ways that we become our own enemy. And I want to go through each one of these. So it might be a little longer than 30 minutes, but I want us to just engage in this. And I want you to begin to think through, just like you might have a physical doctor or somebody that cares in that area. Spiritually, you might have someone that helps develop you in those areas and your spiritual development. But there's also this area of our mind and our mind-body connection that impacts how we live. But also, many times we move into self-sabotage because of these particular areas of thinking. Somebody that needs to get in on this conversation, you need to share this video, tag someone, send it to their message inbox, let them know to jump on in with us today. So I want to go through each one of these and let's have some conversation. And I have a few notes here that I want to share from as well. And let's have some dialogue. So number 1, let's go through all 7 and then we'll talk through them. Caring too much about what others think. Caring too much about what others think. Taking on too much. blaming yourself, lacking confidence, trying to be perfect, feeling guilty, taking time out, and always saying sorry. Wow, look at this. Interesting list. Self-sabotage, actions, habits, behaviors where we become our worst enemy. So I want you to think through this. And as you look at this list, do you see possibly any time in your life where you may have engaged in self-sabotage because of these potential thoughts or habits or behaviors, because of the way that we are reared or because of culture? So there are various reasons why we are in self-sabotage and where we become our worst enemy. So I want to apply, let's start with number one. Number one, caring too much about what others think. Sometimes we overdo it because we may see something, hear something, sense something, or concerned about other people's perspectives and views of who we are, of our value, of our worth, of being validated by him or her or those individuals. And so sometimes we care too much about what others think about us. Or you have conversely someone who spends too much time imparting or inserting themselves into other people's lives about who they are and what they do. And so as a result of that, they create atmospheres of chaos because they want to tell people what to do. They want to instruct people what to do. There's more concern about giving instruction and telling others, or we spend too much time giving people free rent in our emotions, free rent in our minds. So we are caring too much about what others think. Well, I want to encourage us that one way of us not caring too much about what others think is realizing that feeling validated is an inside job. What are your thoughts on this? Feeling validated is an inside job. Self-uniqueness is an inside job. And so when you are caring too much about what others think, you're giving away your power. You're giving away your power. You got to know you are doing your best. So it's important that we look at, am I allowing someone else's opinions, perspectives, their messaging, am I allowing that to be an indicator or impacting my self-uniqueness? See, this is critical because you do have those that, spend more time focusing on what others are doing or what others aren't doing, that it creates an atmosphere that's chaotic emotionally in a home, in a job, in initiatives. And so it's important that we don't spend so much time being concerned about what others think. Feeling validated is an inside job, folks. What do you think about this? What are your thoughts on caring too much about what others think? Sometimes we fall victim to that. Sometimes we allow ourselves to be in a place where we're so concerned that we're seeking that approval or seeking that validity from other person's approval, or we may look up to someone, or someone may be an expert, or they're a sage, they're wise, they're a leader in a particular area. And so sometimes we are looking to what are they thinking about me, or this group of people, what they're thinking about me. And so when you understand self-uniqueness, you no longer seek validation. You begin to understand that feeling validated is now an inside job. Now, of course, as human beings, we do need to be accepted in our relationships. I'm not saying that. We do need to have love and acceptance and forgiveness and appreciation. Those are important emotional needs if we're going to be in nurturing our friendships and our relationships. What I'm saying is, though, is caring too much about what others think, okay? It can block us from being who we need to be. All right, Victoria, very good point. Yes, we do fall victim. Thank you for sharing this. Here you say, yep, people on their team are going through these things. Absolutely, caring too much. We get caught up into being stagnant. We don't move forward. We don't create. We don't advance because we're caring too much about what others people are thinking concerning us. So what is a way that we can come out of this? Here's some ideas. I call it multi-sensory affirmations. Now, this is a little unique here, but see, when you can repeat silently, whenever you catch yourself wanting that validation from others, wanting to hear that validation, you need to repeat silently, catching yourself when you're seeking validation, and begin to say, yes, I accept myself. I love who I am. I'm created this way. And so as you begin to silently speak that, what you're doing now is you're using your verbal sense and your hearing sense to validate, to recognize that validation is an inside job. All right. But there's also multi-sensory self-affirmations. What does that mean? The environment in which you live. There's a reason why you wear a particular cologne or wear a particular perfume. Why? That's self-affirming for you. Some people will say, well, what does that have to do with affirmation? Because that's originally you. So you may like that smell, but somebody else does not like that smell, right? They don't like that particular fragrance. They don't like that particular perfume or that cologne. But because when you have validation, that's an inside job, and you're doing the internal work, then you can build a multi-sensory, self-affirming environment. The colors in your home speak to you. The perfume that you wear, the cologne that you wear, the colors that you wear. Why is that critical and important? Oh, you're just doing with the outside. Look, folks, we live in a body. All right. We live in a real world. You live in a real world. And so you're creating a space that affirms you. You're creating an environment that strengthens you. I'm telling you, if you're spending a whole lot of time in an office, you're spending a whole lot of time in your car, you're spending a lot of time in your home, you might as well create an environment that is self-affirming and multi-sensory affirming. I have a diffuser going on here right now. All right. So, well, why you like that? Well, there's a particular smell that when I'm smelling it, it awakens specific areas in me that is affirming for me. Now, somebody else may say, I'm not into that smell. Well, again, that's your particular smell. Okay. So multi-sensory affirmation is important. Caring too much about what others think, we must think through this. And this will help us create an environment that is self-affirming for you. We got to do that. And so we won't want to spend a whole lot of time being concerned, again, about caring about too much what others are thinking. One other way is perhaps use your phone. If you're walking through a particular area where there's so much strenuous need for a validity, you need to hear your own mouth. You need to hear your own voice. Maybe record something in your phone. The confessions from things that are positive, that are encouraging, that is inspirational, that is motivational, things that as a follower of Christ, in which I am, I go to the word of the Lord. And what that does for me, that strengthens me whenever I rehearse the word and I meditate on the word and I sit there with the word. And when I do that, that reaffirms who I am. It strengthens who I am. And so I no longer allow my mind to wander. I now have built a multi-sensory self-affirming environment. There are times in my home I have a piano, a certain place, have certain colors in certain spaces, certain things that I do in my office. And so I'm encouraging you, just perhaps think through what type of environment is self-affirming for you. Okay, now let's go on. What else is self-sabotage? What are some other things that we do? Taking on too much. Just taking on too much. Learn to say no. Saying no is a beautiful thing. Saying no is an awesome thing. Saying things like, I can't do that because I already made plans. Isn't that freeing? Okay. So it's important that we allow ourselves to say no, not taking on so much to the point that we now are self-sabotaged because we've taken on way too much. We've absorbed too much. We've cluttered our emotions. We've cluttered our minds. And so we need to learn, don't take on too much. Don't overcommit yourself. Folks, here's a practice. I wrote this down earlier. Give one clear reason why you can't do something, or don't explain it at all. See, it's interesting because once you start creating and once you start innovating, people want to latch onto your creativity and then start telling you what to do. You should start doing this. Go here, go there. What? No. This is why I'm not doing that. And you don't need to provide a bunch of explanations. See, so when you do that, no gets easier with practice. Come on, say it with me. No. And you like that? Say it again. No. Don't take on too much. Here, somebody said no is an anointed word. Somebody else to say saying no is so freeing. Still not totally comfortable with it, but I'm getting there. Yes, I'm working on that. Stop being superwoman. Absolutely. I'm telling you, we must learn to say no. I like to call it the broken record technique. It just keeps skipping over and over and over and over again. And so as a result of that, you keep rehearsing it to the point where it becomes easier with practice. Don't take on too much. Got to say that again. Learn to say no. And give a clear reason. You can give a clear reason, but you don't need to move into explanations. And then as a result of that, again, caring about what other people think because you said no. All right. Number 3, let's keep moving here. Blaming yourself. Wow. Now let's take this down. Imagine you call someone, you text someone, you email someone, they don't get back with you within, 3 days or something, or a week, or they just don't get back with you. Now, you might start thinking what? Come on. We start thinking things like what? Well, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Am I not? We start doing this self-eval. Am I not a good friend? What did I do wrong? What's going on with me? Did I say something to offend them? What's happening where they're not replying? They're not responding. Am I not a good friend? Am I not a good colleague? Am I not a good coworker? Here's the point. Stop blaming yourself. Remove 2 things: stories and narratives. Remove stories and narratives. Know that you are good enough. Know that you're good enough. Really, you are. And so it's important that when you remove narratives and you start removing stories, when you feel you're enough and you begin to remove narratives and stories, you really don't take things personally anymore. You're just saying things are where they are. But neither do you get into retaliation as well. All right? Nobody has ever achieved anything getting even. So listen, let's be important. Let's make sure when it comes to blaming yourself, don't take it personal. Know that you're enough. Remove the narratives, remove the stories. When you understand you're enough, you're not taking things personally. All right? It's critical that we learn to do that. Otherwise, we'll start creating stories, and then some people even fuss with themselves. You're in a car and you start talking to yourself, and next thing you know, you're having a full conversation with yourself. Because you got these narratives. They're going to say this. They're going to act this way. They're going to do that. Oh, hold on. Wait. Stop. Remove stories and remove narratives, full narratives that live here. That person is written free in your headspace. Stop it. So that's number 3. Let's go to number 4. Another one, another self-sabotage. Is this resonating with anyone? If it is, how is it resonating with you? Okay. How is it resonating with you if this is making sense to you? Number 4, lacking confidence. Lacking confidence is a self-sabotaging behavior or habit. And one way of conquering that is by taking on new challenges, fostering learning agility, doing something that you haven't done before, learning something you haven't learned before. Sometimes we are walking in that confidence lacking issue. And so confidence is like any other muscle in the body. When discomfort comes, you've been assigned something. I've gone through that in my career. I've gone through that in projects. I've gone through that in pioneering and creating. Oh, wow, you're releasing something. I'm taking up a new challenge and realizing that's an opportunity for agility, not futility. Let me say that again. It's an opportunity in agility, not futility. All right. The key thing, though, is that we don't allow ourselves that as we're learning new challenges and moving into agility, somebody else may think it's futility. You see where I'm going with this? So it's important that confidence is built just like any other muscle in the body. When it comes into discomfort, that's when you can begin to grow it by shifting from futility to agility. Learn something new. And you know what? Think of the things that you've done well. And if something goes wrong, just remind yourself, I'm pretty good at that. You see where I'm going with this? It's important because we're in a world where there's a lot of envy, there's jealousy, there's competition, there's cancel culture, there's people that want to tell you what you shouldn't or should do. You know, all those different types of perspectives. We're inundated with those types of narratives. And so as a result, many times that can impact us in terms of taking on new challenges. This will be helpful for your career. This will be helpful as you're opening up new initiatives or potentially new projects with the works that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. You might be a leader in a particular department or a particular functional area, or there's an opportunity or a door that's opening up for you. And so just remember that, you know, lacking confidence is just like building a muscle. It exists in the face of discomfort. And one way you can move by moving into building confidence is by taking up new challenges, shifting from futility to agility. Okay, are you with me? Shifting from futility to learning agility. You want to learn to be agile. All right, let's go to the next point here. Next one, trying to be perfect. That's another self-sabotage habit and behavior. Again, we're talking about, are you your worst enemy? Trying to be perfect. Wow. This is an incredible narrative. Trying to be perfect. Perfectionism stems from highly, unreasonably high standards from childhood. Trying to be perfect. I think I'm gonna sip my tea on this one. Or already thinking you are perfect, but that's for another tea time. Let's just talk about the trying part. Trying to be perfect. When we grow up with overly critical caregivers, many times we overcompensate by trying to be perfect or expecting others to be. So we end up feeling it's never good enough. Stop when you get to good enough. And that frees you from this ether, and I call it the ether of perfectionism. It's an ether. You don't even know where it is. You think it exists, but it's somewhere out there, the ether of perfection. Stop it. Stop when you get to good enough. Oh, I'm good enough. This is good. This is good. I'm good. How many more times are you going to straighten that out? How many more times are you going to change that shirt? How many more times are you going to change around your office? How many times are you going to keep straightening that and organizing that? Or, oh God, I don't know if stop when you get to good enough, because perfectionism is an ether. It's not a practicality. unreasonably high standards. Give yourself space for expansion. Give yourself space for growth. Give yourself space for that. Okay? Exposing hidden patterns, embracing and discovering new things. So let's pause here for a moment. We'll be started a little late, but I hope that you're enjoying this, and I hope that this is helping. This is our tea time. So those of you that are engaging in this is our dialogue. What are your thoughts so far about what we've been sharing thus far? What's resonating with you at this point? Is it caring too much about what others think? Or are you the one that's so much concerned about what others are doing that you're creating chaos? People do that, you know, just to get the shock effect of what they say and what they do. Taking on too much? Are you learning to say no and use the broken record technique? Or is it blaming yourself? Is it lacking confidence? Is it trying to be perfect? Oh, here's the next one. Feeling guilty, taking time out. Feeling guilty for taking time out. That kind of relates to taking on too much. Well, I just gotta do this. I gotta get it done. Somebody calls you with an emergency. You immediately want to meet everybody's emergency. Everything that is urgent for somebody else may not be important for you. It doesn't mean that you're callous. It means you've learned preservation, mental and emotional preservation. Don't dare feel guilty for taking time out 15, 20 minutes a day to just sit quietly, meditate, and do absolutely nothing. You're always on the go, constantly going. And I read this from a book called The Book of Rest. Here's what the author says. Yes, we're taught hard work does reap rewards. Yet often insight jumps out of nowhere when your mind is quiet and at rest. This is from a book called The Book of Rest by James Reeves. And he says, we're taught hard work does reap rewards. Yet often insights jump out of nowhere when your mind is quiet and at rest. So take good 15, 20 minutes a day just to sit quietly, meditate or do nothing. Yeah, somebody's saying here, fluctuating between caring too much with others' opinions and perfection is good. This is good conversation. Okay, let's understand not to feel guilty for taking time out for your own calm, for your own peace, or just do absolutely nothing. Which leads us to the next point. Always saying sorry. You call someone, oh, sorry to bother you. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. Now, being able to recognize and own your faults, that isn't an important skill. Will we all agree to that? Probably so. So yes, it is important that we're able to apologize and own our faults. Yes, but that's not what I'm talking about here. But doing that when you've done absolutely nothing wrong is showing you're valuing someone else's opinion over your own. So therefore, you're giving your power away. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Oh, I'm sorry to bother you. No. Apologize when you need to own, not when you don't need to own. Because when you do, you're giving power away. Like apologizing for disagreeing with someone because you have a different perspective and an idea. That's nothing to be sorry about. Because what you end up doing is you're acquiescing as if you're not allowed to have your own mind, and therefore somebody else is now your thought police. They're now your thought police. So, oh, I'm sorry to bother you. I'm sorry to interrupt. I mean, wait. Because when we do that, and there's absolutely nothing wrong, what you're saying is, I value your thoughts, your opinions, your perspectives above my own. And so therefore, I'm giving my power away over to you. Stop saying I'm sorry. Apologize when you need to own a fault. You're apologizing specifically for something. But in this instance, oh, sorry to bother you. I'm sorry to interrupt. No. Just take a deep breath. Here's a practice. Let me bring this up. Take a deep breath and just say nothing. Don't say anything. And then just observe how the situation plays out. Just take a deep breath and just say absolutely nothing. I'm just going to sit there and smile. You see? And just observe how the situation plays out. Let's stop giving our power away, caring too much about what others are thinking, taking on too much when we need to learn to say no, blaming ourselves because of somebody else's behaviors, and then we internalize and we rationalize, and then we are paralyzed because we're creating stories and narratives, or lacking confidence because we're concerned about, maybe I failed at this before. Take on a new challenge by shifting from futility to agility. Trying to be perfect for us perfectionists. Stop when you get to good enough. Why? Because sometimes we have unreasonably high standards that stem from childhood the majority of the time. Then when we grow up with overly critical caregivers, here's what happens. We feel whatever we do, it's never quite good enough. Even when somebody is not even saying it, we end up saying it to ourselves. And then whatever we read, whatever we see, whatever we're exposed to, it ends up feeding that negative perspective, that self-sabotage habit, or feeling guilty because you're piling things on yourself. You're constantly on the go. And yeah, we're taught hard work does reap rewards, as we shared in that book from the Book of Rest. And yes, however, insights will jump out when your mind is at quiet and your mind is resting. And then lastly, of course, always saying sorry. So let me share one more thing with you and then we'll stop. Any thoughts so far? Anybody want to share anything on your heart with this? I hope this is helpful, and we'll get back into this next Tuesday. And this is a little longer than usual. I just wanted to share this. We want to break certain habits and behaviors. Here's a few things, a few questions we need to ask ourselves. And I'll post this a little bit later, okay? And I would encourage you to have these conversations with your friends, have these conversations with yourself. Just think through this process. What feelings and emotions did that person highlight within me? Something they said because I was concerned more about what they think. What emotion, what feeling, what thought did that person highlight within me because I care so much about what they have to say? I'm so more concerned about their opinion. Or what would happen if I asserted myself and started to presume I am enough and worthy? Wow, imagine if you took that presumption and began to assert yourself more versus allowing someone else's, towering opinions to rule you. That's self-sabotage. How would my day change if I started to love myself just a little bit more? What needs to happen for me to feel validated? Can I accept the fact that I'm able to validate myself? What is stopping me from feeling good enough? Can I believe right now that I'm good enough? Or how do I feel when I don't act from a place of feeling worthy? Or how do I feel and think when I act from a place of feeling worthy? These are questions we must think through if we're going to break any self-sabotaging behaviors. Folks, take time this week between now and next Tuesday to think through these self-habits, these self-sabotage habits, because sometimes we're our worst enemy. And sometimes we build chaotic atmospheres because we are thinking more about what others are doing instead of having self-regulation. Another conversation for another time. So folks, I hope that this was helpful. Let me know your thoughts on your takeaway from today. Go ahead and type it in the comments in the chat. I also want to say that there are times where where we're having Tea Time Tuesdays. I would love to engage with you, maybe bring a couple of you on with me, and we can do a live conversation through our streaming service. So if you want to just connect and just have a conversation, you're at a place in your day where we can talk through some of the subject matter that we're discussing. I definitely would appreciate you being a part of this. Okay, so this is just an incredible time to be able to talk and discuss and share, because again, if you want to change the direction of a thing, you want to change the conversation. And in order to change the conversation, you must change who joins that conversation, not who's the loudest or the most dominant. All right. So what are some things what are some takeaways? What are some takeaways? Anybody else? What are some takeaways? Okay. So here at the Renewal Center, one of our goals is every Tuesday to do this Tea Time Tuesday. If you have a staff that you want to be a part of this, or some other people that you can send this to, please share it with them. And again, for those of you that are new to the Renewal Center, what we do here, if you'd like to find out more about us, please, you can go to our website, therenewalcenters.com. If you'd like to donate, you could also donate at that link that's streaming there, scrolling at the bottom, www.therenewalcenters.com/give. Also, if you're in the Concord, Charlotte area, we are located 159 Church Street here in the Concord area. Stop by, have some coffee with us, have some tea with us, or come in this atmosphere and create. Come to our thought room and just relax and read. Come to the art and voice room and reflect and create. Our action room, maybe do some writing, do some planning, do some strategizing, work on your tactics and your business planning. Also, if you'd like to donate, we also have a text to give option. You can text Renewal Center to 888-364-4483. So we'll leave that up for you. And also, please make sure that you visit our site, or you can follow us up on our social media at I Am Renewal. So what's your takeaways? Let's look at some takeaways. All right, a few takeaways are, it's okay to say no. Thank you for sharing that. It's okay to say no. What else do we have here? Takeaway, stopping at good enough without feeling less than. Thank you for sharing. What else, folks? What are some of the other ones here? Some folks are looking at some. Here's another one. Very analytical. So I become challenged in the areas of creating narratives. All right. So we're going to watch the narratives and also watch what we're creating in those narratives. Okay. Again, thanks everybody for coming on. I know that we started a little bit late, so I apologize for that. Please come back and connect with us again next Tuesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Please save the date, save the time. We'll be here to share, to open up some ideas. And if there's some other topics you want us to discuss as it relates to renewing, internal renewing, and again, why are we addressing this? Because there is a belief, brain, and body connection. All right. When we believe it's a particular thing, it affects our brain, and then it impacts our body. It impacts who we are. It impacts how we are. And so we want to be very mindful about the data, the information that we receive inside of our hearts and inside of our minds. All right. So again, thank you so much. We appreciate you being a part of Tea Time Tuesday today. Any last words? Okay, here's another one. Take time out, sit quietly. Very good. Anybody else want to share a takeaway? You're welcome. You're welcome. Most welcome. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for joining, and we'll see you next Tuesday here at Tea Time Tuesday. I'm Patrick Brown, your host and Executive Director here of Culture and Context at the Renewal Center, Concord, North Carolina. I am Renewal. Have a great day.
Hello, my name is Carmela E. Head.
Hello, everybody. I'm Prophet Hope Milton.
Hi, I'm Patrick J. Brown, Executive Director of Culture and Context of the Renewal Center.
Here at the Renewal Center, it is the center for prophetic art, thought, voice, and action.
The one thing I love about the Renewal Center is the core values, which we're revealing Christ, renewing minds, we're restoring lives and reforming community. And we know that the only way that we can do that is to reveal Christ to everyone.
That's right. If any person is in Christ, that person will be and can be a new creation. You've been created to reveal Christ. That's right. Christ in you, being born from above, being born again, being generated from a higher place, which is Christ. In you, the hope of glory.
And when I think about renewal, I think about continual growth. We all have the capacity. We all have the very much capacity to move forward and to expand ourselves. So that's what growth and renewal is all about here at the Renewal Center.
So excited to be here. I hope that you will continue to connect. This is an awesome vision. And I'm just excited about everything that God is doing in the Renewal Center here in Concord, North Carolina.
I am.
And I am.
I am.
Renewal.